Enjoy responsibly and maximize your success. The temperature by any bet is
31 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 30 out west in Montego Bay.
News at 5 teasers are brought to you by Advanced Scales and Equipment. Service is our total commitment.
From the Nationwide News Network, comprehensive, incisive, tough. This is Nationwide at 5.
Good afternoon, I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Robianne Williams.
In Nationwide News at this hour, the governing JLP declares it will take nothing for granted as it formally launches its bid for a third term in office.
Campaign Chairman Dr. Christopher Tufton says the JLP is focused on running an issues-based campaign.
As chairman, I certainly will play my part as part of the team to push for a campaign based on issues.
The political ombudsman and the JLP and PMP jointly appeal for political campaign or political supporters to be tolerant and civil in their campaign activities.
Jamaica's Tier 2 classification on the U.S. Global Trafficking in Persons report fails to reflect the country's fight in prosecuting and convicting traffickers.
It's a little disingenuous on the authorities who, notwithstanding the great efforts, insist that we remain at Tier 2.
Jamaican man employed as a reserve police officer in Maine arrested by ICE after he tried to buy an illegal gun.
In news from the rest of the world, over 60 rights group call on President Macron for reparations to Haiti.
Hamas group says 7 more have died from malnutrition in Gaza in the last 24 hours.
In headline sports, government of Jamaica not keen on the sale of Caymanas Park.
And later in our broadcast, in the cover story at 5:35, the governing JLP launched their campaign and presented a record of achievements during their 9 years at the helm of the country. Chairman of the party's campaign committee, Dr. Christopher Tufton, says the party will continue to campaign on issues and achievements.
Ultimately, it is a campaign that is asking for the support of Jamaicans to carry on the work that we have clearly already done.
You'll hear more from the JLP's media briefing.
In public opinion at 6:26, we ask, what's your reaction to PM Holness handing out booklets about the JLP's achievements in the streets? Give us your comments by logging on to our Facebook page, Nationwide News Network, and by tweeting us at Nationwide Radio, and message us on WhatsApp at 876-285-5693. You can also leave your comments on Instagram at Nationwide 90FM.
In the nation's business at 6:40, the JLP's campaign committee chairman, Dr. Christopher Tufton, will join us on the party's record of achievements.
At 6:50, we'll get reactions to the JLP's campaign launch. We'll hear from veteran journalist Cliff Hughes and political commentator Kevin O'Brien Chang.
And at 8, it's a special edition of Boyatings After Dark with Kareem Boyatings Weathers.
All these and more as we take you home on air, on your mobile, Nationwide 90FM, NationwideRadioJM.com, and on the Nationwide app. It's available on Google Play and the App Store. This Wednesday afternoon, it's Wednesday, July 30, 2025.
News at 5 teasers were brought to you by Advanced Scales and Equipment. Service is our total commitment.
If it's news, it's got to be Nationwide 90 FM.
Now the details. The governing Jamaica Labour Party, JLP, has declared it will take nothing for granted as it begins to make its case for a third term at the helm of the country. The declaration comes amid criticism that it was forced to document what it says are its achievements amid allegations Jamaicans are not feeling the positive effects of the government's term in office. Speaking at a media briefing in St. Andrew on Wednesday, the party's campaign chairman, Dr. Christopher Tufton, says it intends to push back against the noise and misinformation about its record in government. Ricardo Brooks reports.
Jamaicans making their regular morning commute on Wednesday were met with an unusual sight. They saw the Prime Minister, cabinet ministers, government MPs, and an army of young people at stoplights and in the middle of busy roadways all across the country. The JLP team was hand-delivering a booklet containing 250 achievements they say they have scored during their 9-year stint in office. The booklet was quickly criticized as a public relations stunt intended to mask the hard realities on the ground. But Dr. Tufton says the effort is about reinforcing the government's positive performance.
In communication, we don't take things for granted and we don't assume, particularly in this environment where there's so much noise. The free media space offers, in a democracy where the media is free, but everyone can assume some sort of journalistic privilege through social media in particular, allows for all sorts of information to be put out there. As we did with COVID, where we had to continuously communicate, even though some of the rules were standard protocols. In an election cycle, we have to communicate. And so the achievement document, persons may know of some that have benefited them. They may not know of others that are benefiting others. And when taken together as a compilation, provides a real sense of what the government has been doing.
According to Dr. Tufton, the document is even more important in an environment of mudslinging and where lies are being fed to the Jamaican people about the government's record. He says the JLP is focused on running an issues-based campaign.
Others have been going around the country, taking the opportunity to speak, which is their right so to do in our democracy, making accusation, innuendos. There's a lot of rumors. There's a lot of mudslinging. That's not our modus operandi. That's not the mood, the tone that we wish for this campaign. And as chairman, I certainly will play my part as part of the team to push for a campaign based on issues, a campaign that will be fought by all of us at the level of the constituencies, at the level of the spokespersons, and at the level of the party. But ultimately, it is a campaign that is asking for the support of Jamaicans to carry on the work that we have clearly already done.
Dr. Tufton appealed to the Jamaican people to reject apathy and leave the sidelines. He says the country is in a much improved position from when the JLP took office in 2016.
2025 is a much improved period for Jamaicans, having traveled 9+ years. And the other choice, which I think is the right choice, is the Jamaica Labour Party based on our legacy over that 9+ years. So we ask the people of Jamaica and intend to make that case in the weeks to come, that they consider these choices, and we ask them to give us the support so we can continue the work that we have done.
Ricardo Brooks for Nationwide News.
Meanwhile, Wednesday's communication blitz by the JLP is being hailed as a positive step forward for political campaigning in the country. Political commentator Dr. Nadine Spence says the move was an innovative one.
I think the book is very impactful, and I think them being out on the streets, communicating and sharing information with people in that way is, I don't know that we've ever seen that before. I don't know if I should say it's going back to an old style of politics or communicating where you take the message directly to the people, because I've never seen that before. But I think certainly in the age of misinformation and many kinds of versions of the information, being out to give out the information in that way is certainly a cut into the many ways that people are communicating on social media that is causing confusion to the electorate. So I think it's innovative. I think it's decisive. I think it's a kind of turning of the page on political communication, and it's going back to taking the information directly to the people.
Dr. Nadine Spence. Meanwhile, public commentator Jermaine Barrett says the blitz was a clear attempt by the JLP to reset the political narrative around its time in office.
I think that the JLP has been faced with significant attacks by the PNP with respect to its track record and its successes. There's a tremendous amount of negativity coming from the opposition with respect to the caliber of governance that Jamaicans have experienced over the years of the JLP administration. And so this is the administration's attempt at really retaking the narrative and trying to prove to Jamaica that no, they have achieved unprecedented successes. And it's going to be interesting to see the extent to which this strategy and others that they may have in the bags really does deliver the successes that the JLP is seeking at the polls.
Jermaine Barrett, public commentator.
The political ombudsman and the general secretaries of the JLP and the PNP are jointly appealing to Jamaicans to be tolerant and civil in their campaign activities. A meeting between the three was held on Wednesday, given the rise in political tensions and the recent incidents of vandalism of campaign material. The general secretaries for both political parties expressed solidarity with the political ombudsman. In a joint statement, they say the display of campaign material is part of the political and electoral process. They say each person has the right to participate freely without fear or intimidation from persons with opposing views. The statement recognizes that the tearing down and other unauthorized removal of signs, posters, billboards, as well as other instances of destruction of property is a direct violation of the right and is a direct violation of constitutional rights and is counterproductive to democracy. It says these acts are divisive in nature and could set the stage for further tension and conflict, which can mar the country's reputation for peaceful campaigning and a free and fair electoral process. The joint statement says the type of conduct has no place within Jamaican society. The three unreservedly rejected violence and intimidation in any form and appealed to all Jamaicans to join in restoring calm and civility to the campaign process.
The country's top prosecutor is calling for a reassessment of Jamaica's Tier 2 ranking on the U.S. Global Trafficking in Persons report. Director of Public Prosecutions DPP Paula Llewellyn argues that the country is performing on par or even better than some of those in Tier 1. She was delivering the keynote speech at Wednesday's Caribbean Trafficking in Persons Forum held in Montego Bay, St. James. Shalois Michael reports.
Jamaica has remained at Tier 2 of the U.S. State Department Trafficking in Persons report for 8 consecutive years. This means it does not fully meet the minimum standards for the elimination of trafficking. But according to DPP Paula Llewellyn, this could not be further from the truth. She says the prosecutors face similar human trafficking challenges like Jamaica in their neck of the woods.
To prosecute a human trafficking case, it means that your victim/complainant has to give credible, reliable evidence that will allow the prosecution to convince the tribunal of fact that we have proved the case beyond a reasonable doubt. And I can tell you, when you talk to prosecutors, including American prosecutors, if you look at the statistics worldwide, we all have the same challenges.
DPP Llewellyn contends that the Tier 2 classification fails to reflect the country's fight in prosecuting and convicting traffickers.
Sometimes I think it's a little disingenuous on the authorities in the states who, notwithstanding the great efforts and the advances that we have made in Jamaica, insist that we remain at Tier 2 when we see other persons being put on Tier 1 who, if you really check it out, they're not there yet, like how we are in Jamaica.
She mentioned Jamaica trying human trafficking cases in judge-only courts as a major accomplishment. According to DPP Llewellyn, the move highlights the progress of Jamaica's legislation in its bid to curb such heinous cases.
We realized that these matters were best left outside of the domain of the jury. Simply because in Jamaica, when it comes to sexual matters, there tends to be an undercurrent of it's just a little sex. After that, I know nothing. But in terms of the judge's treatment of trafficking, it brings out, if I do say so myself, that Jamaica's legislation is a model one. There is no gap.
The Caribbean Trafficking in Persons Forum was held in recognition of World Day Against Trafficking in Persons. It's being observed under the theme Human Trafficking is Organized Crime and the Exploitation. Shalois Michael for Nationwide News.
Did you know that West Kingston holds the distinction of providing the most prime ministers of all constituencies? Yes, that's a fact. West Kingston has provided 4 of Jamaica's 9 prime ministers: Sir Alexander Bustamante, Hugh Shearer, Edward Seaga, and Bruce Golding. This nationwide Did You Know fact is part of our coverage of the race to 32 as we preview the next general election.
You're listening to the news on Nationwide at 5. We'll have more after these.
It's IQ Optical's sizzling summer sale. For this month only, get 50% off lenses when you purchase a frame. Kids get free lenses with a purchase of a frame. Make the intelligent choice with IQ Optical. Conditions apply. The time by IQ Optical is
15 minutes after 5.
Rentokil Initial offers air purification solutions with triple filtration and unique auto-sensing capabilities that neutralizes malodor and replaces it with clean air. Call Rentokil Initial at 926-4236 for more details.
The temperature by Rentokil is
31 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 30 out west in Montego Bay.
The general rate of price increases in Jamaica has slowed significantly, barring any new economic shocks such as large global price increases or bad weather. Inflation is expected to generally remain within Bank of Jamaica's target range of 4 to 6% for the next 2 years. Low stable price movement is good for all Jamaicans. A message from Bank of Jamaica.
Continuing the news, a Jamaican man employed as a reserve police officer in the Old Orchard Beach Police Department in Maine was arrested by officers from the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement ICE on Friday. He has been identified as John Luke Evans. According to ICE, Evans, who is in the U.S. illegally, was arrested after he tried to unlawfully purchase a firearm. But as we hear in this report from Mahiri Stewart, the story may not be what the Trump administration says it is.
John Luke Evans was apprehended by agents attached to ICE's Enforcement and Removal Operations Boston in partnership with the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms and Explosives ATF in the town of Bidford. ICE notes that his attempt to purchase the weapon triggered an alert to ATF agents who worked in coordination with ICE to make the arrest. ICE says Evans was employed as a reserve police officer at the Old Orchard Beach Police. Evans confessed to lawmen that he attempted to purchase the firearm for his job as an officer. ICE says Evans entered the U.S. lawfully on September 24, 2023 at the Miami International Airport in Florida. He was due to stay in the country for just about 1 week. He's accused of violating the terms of his lawful admission by overstaying his visa. Evans was set to depart the U.S. on October 1, 2023. He was arrested nearly 2 years later in the state of Maine, over 1,500 miles from Florida, his state of entry. Acting Field Office Director in ICE's Enforcement and Removal Operations, Patricia Hyde, expressed shock at the fact that Evans was employed by Old Orchard Beach Police. Hyde said, quote, "The fact that a police department would hire an illegal alien and unlawfully issue him a firearm while on duty would be comical if it weren't so tragic. We have a police department that was knowingly breaking the very law they are charged with enforcing in order to employ an illegal alien." End quote. However, the police chief of Old Orchard Beach Department, Elise Shard, has clapped back. In a statement on Monday, Shard notes that Evans was hired only after the U.S. Department of Homeland Security informed the department that he was cleared to work. Shard says as part of the hiring process, the town reviewed multiple forms of identification, including photo identification, and submitted Evans's I-9 form to the Department of Homeland Security's E-Verify program. She says the form was submitted and approved by the government agency on May 12 this year. Shard notes that Evans's employment authorization document was set to expire in March 2030. According to Shard, Maine is one of a handful of states that allows residents who are not U.S. citizens to work in law enforcement. The chief says the police department was never formally informed of Evans's arrest and instead learned of it through the news. Shard says the department is distressed and deeply concerned about this apparent error on the part of the federal government. Mahiri Stewart for Nationwide News.
This is a nationwide election nugget.
The rural constituency of Southwest St. Elizabeth has voted for the party that formed government in every general election except 1959, earning it the reputation as the bona fide weather vane seat in the island. Southwest St. Elizabeth was first contested in the 1959 general elections. Since then, the seat has gone on to the party that eventually went on to form government. It has been won by the JLP 7 times and the PNP 6 times. In more recent electoral history, Dr. Christopher Tufton won the seat for the JLP in 2007. He was narrowly beaten out by the PNP's Hugh Buchanan in 2011. The JLP then regained the seat in 2016 under Floyd Green. Green has now held the seat for 2 terms and is seeking a 3rd stint.
That was a nationwide election nugget.
World in a Minute is brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose Assembly and Supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology, and integrity.
The World in a Minute. Over 60 rights groups have signed a letter to French President Emmanuel Macron calling for billions of dollars in reparations to Haiti. The letter dated Tuesday, July 29, points to the crippling payments Haiti made to France as compensation for lost property, including slaves, after its independence. They say the wealth extracted under this ransom set Haiti's GDP growth back by decades and resulted in a cycle of foreign aid dependence and entrenched debt that persists to this day. The letter says it's long past time for France to acknowledge and remedy this injustice. Signatories included diaspora and reparations groups in the United States, Africa, and elsewhere in the Caribbean.
7 more people have died from malnutrition in the Gaza Strip in the past 24 hours. That's according to the Hamas-run health ministry in Gaza. It says the total number of malnutrition deaths since the start of the Israel-Hamas war in 2023 has now reached 154, including 89 children. On Tuesday, UN-backed global food security experts warned that the worst-case scenario of famine is currently playing out in Gaza. But Israel says it's not imposing restrictions on aid entering the territory. Meanwhile, U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff will travel to Israel on Thursday to discuss the crisis. The trip will mark Witkoff's first visit to Israel in nearly 3 months and comes less than a week after both the U.S. and Israel recalled their delegations from Gaza ceasefire talks in Qatar.
World in a Minute was brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose Assembly and Supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology, and integrity.
Recapping the top stories making nationwide news at this hour as it launches its bid for a 3rd term in office, the JLP is declaring it will take nothing for granted.
Campaign Chairman Dr. Christopher Tufton says the JLP is focused on running an issues-based campaign.
The political ombudsman and the 2 major political parties are appealing to Jamaicans to be tolerant and civil in the upcoming campaign.
Jamaica's Tier 2 classification on the U.S. Global Trafficking in Persons report fails to reflect the country's fight in prosecuting and convicting traffickers.
I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Robian Williams.
You can find the news on our website at nationwideradiojm.com and on the Nationwide app. It's available on the Google Play and the App Store. News next, the headlines at 6.
GPS! Keep it cool, keep it cool. Summertime hot, but we have all the tools. Keep it cool, keep it cool. No waste to see it, you just have to choose. Stay out of the fridge, just use a igloo. Remember your Kisco ice and the juice. The fan AC combo, yeah, I hit that. AC for a bit, then a fan after that. Keep it cool, keep it cool. This summer JPS have all the tools. Keep you cool with JPS. Download the JPS app today.
Redemption Fest and Emancipation Celebration, August 1, 3 to 10 p.m. at Emancipation Park. Come celebrate our rich heritage. Admission free. Brought to you by the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport, JCDC, and Emancipation Park.
Sports at 5 is brought to you by Total Tools. Total Tools, every tool, every trade.
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Sports here on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm Wayne Walker. Member of Parliament for East Central St. Catherine, Orlando Terrelong, has put forward a position he says represents that of the government that Caymanas Park should not be sold. Terrelong, in whose constituency the park is located, told Nationwide Sports that horse racing is part of the cultural fiber. Terrelong, who is also State Minister for Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, says he was one of those who fought to keep the facility open during the COVID-19 pandemic.
The horse racing will be in Jamaica forever. You know, one has to understand that horse racing is a part of the cultural fabric of Jamaica. It's a part of the culture and daily lives of the residents of, Gregory Park and Newlands and Waterford and beyond. During COVID, I was there with them to make sure that, horse racing wasn't closed during COVID. And this is one of the points that persons must understand, from Gregory Park to Newlands, Waterford, and all across St. Catherine and Jamaica. During COVID, this government ensured. I spoke to Minister Grains, I spoke to Minister Nigel Clark, and we ensured that Caymanas Track was open.
The 196-acre facility has been at the center of much discussions, with the leaseholder, Supreme Ventures Racing and Entertainment Limited, wanting full ownership in order to do the necessary renovations at the track. In a previous interview with Nationwide Sports, Gary Peart, the executive chairman of SVREL, said their only interest in full ownership is being done to roll out the US $100 million they have to spend on the upgrade.
The position is very simple. The contract we have was to invest $500 million. We have exceeded that figure by at least 6 times. We're spending in excess of $3 billion. What we're saying is that whatever the additional investment that is required, it is difficult for us. Our bankers will not lend us, give us financing against a lease. What we're saying is that we've identified $100 million US worth of funding to accelerate the development of Caymanas, but we need title to the property.
Gary Peart, executive chairman of Supreme Ventures Racing and Entertainment Limited. Athletes who want to compete in the female category for world ranking competitions from September will have to take a one-time gene test, says governing body World Athletics. The new regulations come into effect from September 1 and will be applied to the World Athletics Championships, which will take place in Tokyo, Japan, September 13 to 21. The test for the SRY gene, which is part of the Y chromosome and causes male characteristics to develop, can be conducted via a cheek swab or blood test. If the test is negative for the Y chromosome, the athlete is eligible to compete in the female category. If it is positive, they can compete in the female category non-world ranking competitions or in other category other than the female one. It is a test to be taken once in a lifetime and will be overseen by a member federations. World Athletics approved the introduction of a test in March to determine if an athlete is biologically female. It was one of several recommendations approved at the World Athletics Council meeting to tighten regulations over the eligibility of transgender and difference of sex development DSD athletes. World Athletics banned transgender athletes who had gone through male puberty from competing in the female category in international competition since March 2023. Two-time world champions West Indies will face Pakistan at Central Broad Regional Park Stadium turf ground in Lauderhill, Florida, in Game 1 of their 3-match T20 International Series on Thursday, and the game is set to bowl off at 6 o'clock Jamaica time. The Windies, who are currently 6th in the world rankings, are still smarting from their final series loss to Australia, which ended this week. Captain Shea Hope admits it's a quick turnaround to be facing another tough opponent, but he thinks the team will perform much better this time and could even go on to win the series.
We got to put this series behind us, literally a quick turnover, so we got to put our focus into what we're going to do against the Pakistani opposition. We got our plans already. We're going to make sure that we focus in hard on them, and the biggest thing that they keep mentioning is execution. So as long as our execution is 10 times better, I'm sure we're going to win this series.
And Hope says despite the defeat to the Aussies, the team is a good one and they'll keep pushing on till they get it right.
We go out there trying to fight every single time, regardless of what the result is. We all want to win, probably even more than you guys. So it's just one of those things where we're trying to get the formula right, and then when we hit that success button, we're going to keep pressing it for as long as possible.
West Indies white ball captain Shea Hope. Finally, USA under-19 women beat West Indies by 3 wickets in the 4th T20 International at the Sir Frank Worrell Memorial Ground on Wednesday, chasing 90 to win. The tourists reached the target with 4 balls to spare, and Chetnapagi Dayal and Senavi Kambalapali made 19 apiece. Samara Ramnath, Nijani Cumberbatch and Brianna Haricharan took 2 wickets apiece. Early, the Windies made it 89 for 8 in their 20 overs, with Ebony Brathwaite making a top score of 53. That's sports. We're going to be back with more at 6:05.
Sports at 5 was brought to you by Total Tools. Total Tools, every tool, every trade.
Cubby's Baby Wipes is ideal for your baby's delicate skin, infused with vitamin E and aloe vera, and available for home or on the go. The time by Cubby's Baby Wipes is
5:31.
Bosco Bell St. Mary is your newest gateway to Miami. Daily flights are available for your convenience. The temperature brought to you by the Airport Authority of Jamaica is
31 degrees Celsius here in the nation's capital, Kingston. It's 30 in the western city, Montego Bay.
I use the Radar app to help source my seeds and also my seedlings.
Me run my farm as a business, so I use the app for weather forecast and crop planning.
When we need the extension officer, we just book a visit on the app. Quick time she reach. We check pest alert every morning. Me now make her mash up my ground.
Real farmers, real support, real easy. Crop Radar and Farm Smarter. Get the mobile app on Android and iOS.
Want to reduce your high electricity bills? Then Peak Energy has the solution for you. From grid-tied to hybrid solar inverters with full lithium-ion battery pack. Installation and maintenance packages available. Visit us at Shop 1, 3 Mosquito Valley Road, Red Hill, St. Andrew. Call 876-279-8820 or 944-0668. Or email us at peakenergysolutionsja@gmail.com. Peak Energy for everything solar.
For over 30 years, Chris and Charles has been financing your goals, dreams, creating your great moments. Celebrate the occasion with us. Borrow $1 million, pay less than $25,000 monthly, and get 30% off your processing fees. No guarantor needed. Call 876-920-4189 or WhatsApp 876-838-9028. Conditions apply. When you think loans, think Chris and Charles.
Is your money idling when it could be thriving? With CIBC Caribbean's fixed deposit offering, you can take charge of your cash. With 50,000 Jamaican to start, choose terms from 30 days to 2 years. Lock in your funds and enjoy premium rates guaranteed to grow your wealth. Whether you're eyeing short or long-term gains, our fixed deposit account puts you firmly in control of your money. Now is the time to open a CIBC fixed deposit account and start earning more today. CIBC, ambitions made real.
Enough power tool, big to small. Chakama figure dig the wall. Our Total Tools. Feed waka figure trim the lawn. We have everything a job demand. Total Tools. We rent them, sell them and fix them. Also give Total Tools a call. When I say home improvement, landscape construction, a Total Tools are your option. Home improvement, landscape construction, Total Tools are your option. Total Tools located at 102 Main Street, Ocho Rios, 34 Slipe Road, Kingston.
And lot C6 Jackson, St. Anne's Bay. Call us today.
Kings turns 5. Boy Things After Dark, the realest, most exciting show on radio, is celebrating 5 years.
Happy birthday, yeah, my friend. One more year on them.
And we're going big. We're talking a live outside broadcast and after party, celebrity guests, live performances, giveaways, and more. You understand? It's all going down Wednesday, July 30th from 8 to 11 p.m. at Nationwide 90 FM Courtyard at 6 Bradley Avenue. Things Nation, this is your celebration. This is the link up you don't want to miss. We are Things from Kareem Boya Things for Things Turns 5, Wednesday, July 30th, 8 to 11 p.m. Come out and celebrate with us. You understand?
Things Turns 5 is brought to you by Mark's Superstore, the University of Technology Jamaica, Chicken and Things, Calico Jack, The Bridge Official, Best Way Pharmacy, Stewart's Automotive Group, Speed Ship JA, Sleek Faces, Tastematic Kitchen, Helago Wine and Spirits Limited, Bodyscape Rejuvenation Center, Statement Pieces by Chris, and Pat's Flower Shop.
Cover Story is brought to you by Hyundai. Modern, premium, affordable vehicles.
Experience the joy of buying a brand new Hyundai without breaking the bank. Yes, buying a brand new car should never leave you broke. From stylish designs and safety features to comfortable driving and reliability, Hyundai is the choice. Hyundai vehicles come standard with 2 years free service and 5 years warranty and roadside assistance for your peace of mind. Drive 2 years without service cost and 5 years without fear of being stranded. Hyundai. Conditions apply.
Good afternoon, listeners and viewers. It is 5:35. It is the 30th of July. Welcome to the Cover Story. I'm Siobhan Campbell.
And my name is Sanjay Lewis. Good afternoon to you listeners. Good afternoon to Siobhan. And for the Cover Story this afternoon, we're looking at some highlights from that JLP press conference held today. And the ruling Jamaica Labour Party, that's the JLP, has crafted a document outlining a raft of what it says are solid achievements since it took control of government in 2016. The 60-page document highlights what the party says are measurable accomplishments across all sectors and industries, including water and housing, the economy, agriculture, roads and water, national security, education, and tourism.
The introduction to the booklet says this is not what we hope to do. It highlights some of the projects we have already delivered. These are not promises, they are plans. They are real results. The party says the government has done more than enough to campaign on its record over the last 9 years in charge of the country's affairs. And speaking during a media briefing at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel on Wednesday, chair of the party's Manifesto and Achievements Committee, that's Senator Kamina Johnson-Smith, says the decision was taken to publish the booklet so that everyone could understand the government's achievements.
The booklet that we have provided today, the one that is available through QR codes that are published in today's daily newspapers and also available on all the candidate boards that you see throughout the country. You can just scan them with your phone and it will take you to the digital copy. This booklet does not represent all of the accomplishments of the Jamaica Labour Party. It was a very difficult process to distill to 256. And if you don't believe me, you can even check that there are things that we have merged in here that would never in any other country be merged, because we have gone so far as to put making the BOJ independent, creating the Fiscal Commission, creating the ICE all in one, just because it's creating, and just to simplify and condense. That's the extent to which we have tried to make sure that our achievements are digestible to you. But why is this booklet important? And why was it important for us to put these things together? Dr. Tufton started to speak about the issue, and I want to go a little further. The reality is, and we've all observed it, there's been a lot of skepticism of the political process over the decades, and it's reflected itself in our lowering of voter turnout. And that, of course, is not helpful to a democracy. And we in the Jamaica Labour Party believe in democracy, we support democracy. It is a part of our DNA. And in no administration have we ever taken any action which is counter to that. So part of what we want to do is really reignite that spirit. That's why we call on Jamaica and call on Jamaicans to choose Jamaica. We want to set a vision that goes beyond maybe what has become a transactional view of politics. We want to ask people to look at the work, look at what has been done, look at what's happening around you. So even if the road hasn't reached you yet, But you see the road, you recognize that that's a development for Jamaica and Jamaicans. You know that 138 health centers have been renovated, but the one next to you is on the list. You know that you're happy for the 138 communities that now have new health centers. Same with 150 police stations that have been renovated and the 6 new that have been built, making safer communities across the island. You know that good is happening in Jamaica. And this is important. It's important because we're demonstrating to you, we're demonstrating to Jamaica that your vote counts. It's important that individual citizens recognize that there's a relationship between their vote and results. And publishing this book was about saying that there are at least 256 reasons that you should vote for the Jamaica Labour Party.
So that's Camilla Johnson-Smith there. So, you know, Sanjay, I have to say it was a very incredible bit of marketing having the Prime Minister literally go around the town and hand out this booklet, because rarely do you see that kind of direct engagement with just ordinary Jamaicans in terms of political messaging. So I have to give credit where credit is due there. That was a nice bit of marketing, having the Prime Minister actually go out and say, here is a booklet of achievements. Not all of them, but here's a booklet of what I have done for you in 9 years.
Yeah, it speaks to also, as you indicated, Siobhan, and I'll take it a little further, the optics of it is very important, because one of the things that we have been saying is that the government should never take it for granted that the Jamaican people are aware of what they have done. And the fact that they have put this together in a booklet, and also having the Prime Minister on the streets along with other cabinet members, it speaks well to the direction that they're taking this, I will call it marketing, because a big part of politics is about marketing and how you sell yourself to the Jamaican people. Yeah.
Well, Health Minister, go ahead. Sorry, Sanjay, go ahead.
In the meantime, Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton, who is also the MP for West Central St. Catherine, he says the JLP's campaign will be one which is based on issues.
Today, you would have seen perhaps the most significant outreach to date of the Labour Party towards pitching the message of the party and the achievements of the party to the Jamaican people. We saw a document that was unveiled with approximately 250 achievements of the administration led by the Most Honourable Prime Minister Andrew Holness since returning to office in 2016. The document was distributed across the country to many communities by persons who believe in what is contained within that document and who are part of a wider collective pitching and selling the achievements of the Labour Party. As the General Secretary indicated, digital copies are available. Your 2 daily newsprints today would have had an advertorial and a digital link where persons can access if they do not have a hard copy. The activity today was out of a recognition of the Jamaica Labour Party's commitment to being accountable to the people of Jamaica who invested confidence in us in 2016. No other government has had that kind of achievement within that space of time. Now, a lot had to be done to get us to this point, and we are prepared to debate that. But the reality is, more Jamaicans feel safer than they ever did, and certainly prior to the end of 2015 when the others were in office. And we intend to campaign on that record, and we are prepared to challenge anyone on that achievement. Today, therefore, and this is just a synopsis, but it is worth mentioning, given that today it is about our achievements, we will have a lot more to say. Others have been going around the country, taking the opportunity to speak, which is their right so to do in our democracy, making accusation, innuendos. There's a lot of rumors, there's a lot of mudslinging. That's not our modus operandi. That's not the mood, the tone that we wish for this campaign. And as chairman, I certainly will play my part as part of the team to push for a campaign based on issues, a campaign that will be fought by all of us at the level of the constituencies, at the level of the spokespersons, and at the level of the party. But ultimately, it is a campaign that is asking for the support of Jamaicans to carry on the work that we have clearly already done.
That's Dr. Christopher Tufton, the JLP's campaign committee chairman. He was speaking this afternoon after their, I guess you can call it their media blitz, their election blitz, and we'll have more for you after these messages.
Clear your barrels and personal shipments with ease and convenience. Request a customs contactless clearance today through CCP at jca.gov.jm. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is...
It's 5:45.
Burn Shack fried chicken always ready. Burn Shack, original crispy. Burn Shack, Cajun spicy. Burn Shack, a barbecue. Burn Shack, we are going Burn Shack.
The temperature brought to you by Bird Shack Fried Chicken in Montego Bay and Ochivios is...
It's 31 degrees Celsius here in the capital city, Kingston, and 30 out west in Montego Bay.
Experience the joy of buying a brand new Hyundai without breaking the bank. Yes, buying a brand new car should never leave you broke. From stylish designs and safety features to comfortable driving and reliability, Hyundai is the choice. Hyundai vehicles come standard with 2 years free service and 5 years warranty and roadside assistance for your peace of mind. Drive 2 years without service cost and 5 years without fear of being stranded. Hyundai. Conditions apply.
If a hurricane mash up your house tomorrow, would your insurance fully cover it? Many Jamaicans are underinsured and don't even know it. One hurricane and they could be paying millions out of pocket. BCIC's free property valuation tool is here to help everyone update their home's rebuilding cost. Plus, when you update your sum insured with BCIC, you'll get $5 million in free contents insurance and up to 12 months to pay. Visit bciconline.com.
Welcome back, listeners and viewers. We're talking about the JLP's campaign kickoff. I see a lot of people in the YouTube channel calling it a master stroke, a chess move, as things are now. We can say they're well underway now in terms of the elections getting even that much closer. Well, we have Dr. Tufton, who was speaking at the JLP's campaign media briefing this afternoon, who says the JLP will continue to speak of their achievements in the areas of healthcare and economic growth during the campaign period.
I could speak to the challenges that we have faced in health. It would be remiss of me not to. This is a government that inherited the tail end of CHIKV, then 1 year of ZIKV, then 1 year of a dengue outbreak, the collapse of a hospital that was neglected for years, and then, of course, COVID, 2.5, almost 3 years. It's a government that is one of the most outstanding in terms of lives saved during that COVID pandemic, the fastest recovery of many countries, most countries around the world, and a country that continues to expand in terms of economic activity. Those are things we intend to recall and to keep speaking about during this campaign. I close by saying that our team is ready. Our team will act based on their convictions, based on what they know is in the best interest of the country. And I make the appeal that the Jamaican people have a choice. And there are 3 choices, actually. The first choice is a choice that many Jamaicans exercise during an election cycle, and that is to stay away. And I dare say that in my own thoughts that I've expressed from time to time, I think apathy or withdrawal is probably one of the greatest threats to democracy, because it does require active engagement. And people can make that choice because it's their right so to do. We want to make a case to advise, to encourage, and where there is misunderstanding, to create better understanding, to have persons engage the process. We think it is not good to allow others to elect a government that will preside over your affairs. And we ask the Jamaican people and those who are accustomed to staying away to consider that very seriously. And we intend to make that case. The other two choices are, I think, a lot clearer. There is a choice of those who would like to be where we are, and they have made a case. They are all over the country campaigning for the last year. I'm still trying to determine what that case is. If you take it from a legacy perspective, 2015 was a bad year for Jamaicans. In many ways, the fear of crime, unemployment, debt, and I could go on. 2025 is a much improved period for Jamaicans, having traveled 9+ years. And the other choice, which I think is the right choice, is the Jamaica Labour Party based on our legacy over that 9+ years. So we ask the people of Jamaica and intend to make that case in the weeks to come, that they consider these choices, and we ask them to give us the support so we can continue the work that we have done. Our work is very clear. It is supported by the formal agencies, international agencies. It is supported by the research, and we know it is supported too by the people on the ground in the communities who have seen the improvements in their lives. We ask them to remind themselves, and when that time comes, to give us the support.
That's Dr. Christopher Tufton. He is the chairman of the campaign committee for the JLP. You know, Siobhan, what is so interesting, and I will say it, about the move by the JLP, they are in essence controlling the narrative before the campaign clock officially starts to tick. And if you notice, they're focusing on, and they said it in the press conference, what they did. Typically, when a political party, especially in government, is coming back or trying to go back to rule, they speak heavily on what they plan to do. There's a heavier focus on what they did, which, you know, it boosts credibility, it boosts confidence, because they're saying, hey, as Commissioner Johnson-Smith indicated, we have way more than 256 achievements, but we have merged some together to show you, Jamaican people, what we have done.
You're right, Sanjay. I don't know how many listeners actually have access to the book now and are looking through it online. You'll notice in the last of the 60 pages, there's a blurb dedicated to the People's National Party, you could say, suggesting what they accomplished before the JLP took the reins in 2016 and what they believe would happen if the PNP was in government next, saying when the PNP was in government, Jamaicans faced higher taxes, rising debt, chronically high interest rates, and limited growth, even while the rest of the world was thriving. We lived the reality of underinvestment in health, education, security, roads, and water. We have been working hard to turn this around. They have no clear plan, no proven team, and no record of getting things done. So they give their opponents a little slap in the face there at the end of this document. It's an interesting read, listeners. Even if you don't intend to vote JLP or you're still on the fence, I think I'd recommend reading it, looking through it to see if there's anything in there that you believe you've not noticed or felt, or things that you might have missed in terms of what the government has suggested are their achievements over the last last near decade, actually. Well, yeah. Suggesting more, Dr. Tufton says the JLP will not, or did it? No, we did that. Sorry. Yes, Dr. Tufton says that the JLP will not take for granted that all citizens are aware of the party's achievements. He was responding to a question from Nationwide's own Ricardo Brooks.
On the achievement side, Dr. Tufton, you say that 2025 is much improved to 2015. But if your achievements were so impressive, wouldn't the Jamaican people feel it in their daily lives such that you wouldn't have to compile it in a booklet for them? Thank you.
First of all, I think as a good journalist, I believe you are, in communication, we don't take things for granted. And we don't assume, particularly in this environment where there's so much noise. The free media space offers, in a democracy where the media is free, but everyone can assume some sort of journalistic privilege through social media in particular, allows for all sorts of information to be put out there. As we did with COVID, where we had to continuously communicate, even though some of the rules were standard protocols. In an election cycle, we have to communicate. And so the achievement document, persons may know of some that have benefited them. They may not know of others that are benefiting others. And when taken together as a compilation, provides a real sense of what the government has been doing. And we believe that that case needs to be made, but also needs to be reinforced, and hence the document and the importance of that document.
Just add a quick comment to Chairman's comment. Everybody in Jamaica feels safer today than they did 5 years ago. Anywhere we go, from the data will tell you that we have done the data, and less than 10% of consciences refer to crime at all. So that has reached everybody. But again, it's important to reinforce it, because when it's no longer a topic, some people forget how we got there. And this government worked hard, cost a lot, and we'll take credit for it, and we'll remind the people of that.
Thank you. And Ricardo, may I add that as a nation, certainly as a people, Jamaican people coming from all different parts of the world, we have benefited because someone took the time to document the history, to document the past, searing into our consciousness where we are coming from as a people. And in the same way, the books must reflect, the story must be told, that under this Jamaica Labour Party-led administration, we have achieved more than any other government in the history of this country. Generations of Jamaicans must know what this Jamaica Labour Party has done for them and their children and their future. Thank you.
That's MP for North East St. Catherine, Corinthia Morrison. We also had before her the GLP General Secretary, Dr. Horace Chang, and the Campaign Committee Chairman, Dr. Christopher Tufton. Sanjay, I have to point to that what the Dr. Horace Chang suggested there, because we say that the murder rate is down. I think it's 42% as of coming to the end of July now. And what a lot of people may not realize is, if the murder rate is down, is this translating to Jamaicans feeling safer? Is the perception of crime in Jamaica also trending down? And he also provided the statistics to suggest, yes, even the perception itself as to do Jamaicans feel safer, it is also trending down. So that is a good thing for Dr. Chang to highlight, because many Jamaicans still say, well, I don't necessarily feel safe. Well, it seems that narrative is also changing. Well, we also have here that the chair of the Manifesto Achievements Committee, that is Senator Camille Johnson-Smith, says some of the party's promises in their 2016 manifesto, which remained unfulfilled, were more divisive than they thought. She was responding again to Nationwide's Ricardo Brooks.
You talked about different segments of the voting population, different issues resonating with them. You'll recall that in February 2016, the Prime Minister in Montego Bay promised a suite of government or governance reforms, fixed election date to follow up on Kimon's question, impeachment, a grand referendum on matters like the CCJ, abortion, etc. Those promises have not been kept. Are you concerned as the chair of the Manifesto Committee that Jamaicans may find it hard to believe that new promises that you will come with will be kept?
No. That's absolutely. I was just making light. An excellent question. The reality is that we are a listening government, and we're an inquiring government. And we're a government that also has prided itself on being agile and responsive to what people need and want. So I must say that having placed the grand referendum in the manifesto, it was something around we had rallied and we felt very convicted about. The issues were, however, perhaps a little more divisive than anticipated, as opposed to areas around which people were coalescing, and that would allow for a sort of a unifying consensus to emerge on issues. And on the matter of fixed election date in particular, and I just make note that there's no other CARICOM country that has it at all. So we would be an anomaly. But the UK that had introduced it in 2011 has since repealed it because they found it unworkable and incompatible with their constitutional traditions, which are the same as ours. I think they repealed it in 2022, as a matter of fact, just finding that circumstances that were anticipated could not have been anticipated, and that the constitutional traditions were far more appropriate to be reasserted. And they had bipartisan support of the Parliament to do it with the major parties. And we've looked back at that as well, to look at what they confronted, etc. Because it can't be that because you have written something and you believe in it, that if people are not actually demanding it, what they are more concerned about is the water in their pipes, is about getting a higher path grant, is about getting trained and certified, is about finding a job that they need. And their focus and energy is put behind that, especially when you have 2 years stolen from you by COVID. It's not unthinkable to say, okay, well, how do we adjust this? How do we meet what the majority of people want? Even while we continue to consult and listen, we have a broad-based constitutional reform process underway, which would actually unearth and is unearthing some of the thinking and some of the understanding and some of the interest in some of those issues. And that's moving things along. But do I think, therefore, that not having inserted or passed legislation to impose a fixed election date will undermine trust in our system or in our achievements? Not at all. I think that the majority of Jamaicans will judge us on the fact that we have been delivering on issues and on matters that impact the majority of Jamaicans. And that is the basis on which we will approach the people.
That's Senator Camille Johnson-Smith, their chair of the JLP's Manifesto and Achievements Committee. And kudos to Ricardo for asking that question, because it's one of the areas that the People's National Party has been beating the JLP over the head. They made so many 2016 election promises around essential governance reforms that did not come to fruition, and Ricardo gave the government the opportunity to answer that question directly as to what happened to these issues in terms of fixed election dates and other grand referendum promises. And Camino provided quite a sensible diplomatic answer, suggesting that yes, a lot of these things we don't necessarily have the kind of consensus we thought about. I don't know if she means whether that's internally to the JLP or more broadly across society. It could be a combination of both. So kudos to Ricardo for asking that question.
Yeah, indeed. And, a manifesto reflects the priorities and the knowledge of the moment. But leadership requires flexibility, And when national circumstances evolve, such as COVID, you have to pivot. Yeah.
Well, we're out of time, unfortunately, listeners, but we will go back into this at 6:40 when we will have Dr. Christopher Tufton along with us to discuss what he believes will be the JLP's, not only their record of achievements, but what they intend to do in terms of their campaigning going into the next general election. And we will also have with us our own Cliff Hughes to discuss the day's events.
Cover Story was brought to you by Hyundai. Modern, premium, affordable vehicles.
The time brought to you by Guardian Life. Live secure, live easy is
3 minutes after 6.
Nationwide headlines at 6.
Good evening with the headlines at 6. I'm Mahiri Stewart. The governing Jamaica Labour Party JLP has declared it will take nothing for granted as it begins to make its case for a third term at the helm of the country. The declaration comes amid criticism that it was forced to document what it says are its achievements amid allegations Jamaicans are not feeling the positive effects of the government's term in office. Speaking at a media briefing in St. Andrew on Wednesday, the party's campaign chairman, Dr. Christopher Tufton, says it intends to push back against the noise and misinformation about its record in government. Dr. Tufton says the effort is about reinforcing the government's positive performance.
In communication, we don't take things for granted and we don't assume, particularly in this environment where there's so much noise. The free media space offers, in a democracy where the media is free, but everyone can assume some sort of journalistic privilege through social media in particular, allows for all sorts of information to be put out there. As we did with COVID, where we had to continuously communicate, even though some of the rules were standard protocols. In an election cycle, we have to communicate. And so the achievement document, persons may know of some that have benefited them. They may not know of others that are benefiting others. And when taken together as a compilation, provides a real sense of what the government has been doing.
According to Dr. Tufton, the document is even more important in an environment of mudslinging and where lies are being fed to the Jamaican people about the government's record. He says the JLP is focused on running an issues-based campaign.
Others have been going around the country, taking the opportunity to speak, which is their right so to do in our democracy, making accusation, innuendos. There's a lot of rumors. There's a lot of mudslinging. That's not our modus operandi. That's not the mood, the tone that we wish for this campaign. And as chairman, I certainly will play my part as part of the team to push for a campaign based on issues, a campaign that will be fought by all of us at the level of the constituencies, at the level of the spokespersons, and at the level of the party. But ultimately, it is a campaign that is asking for the support of Jamaicans to carry on the work that we have clearly already done.
Dr. Christopher Tufton, the JLP's campaign chairman. The political ombudsman and the general secretaries of the country's two major political parties are appealing to Jamaicans to be tolerant and civil in the ongoing election campaign. They held a meeting on Wednesday to discuss the rise in political tensions and the recent incidents of vandalism of campaign signs. The general secretaries for both the JLP and PNP expressed solidarity with the political ombudsman. In the joint statement, they say the display of campaign material is part of the political and electoral process. They say each person has the right to participate freely without fear or intimidation from persons with opposing views. The statement recognizes that the tearing down and unauthorized removal of signs, posters, billboards, as well as other instances of destruction of property is a direct violation of that right and is counterproductive for democracy. It says these acts are divisive in nature and could set the stage for further tension and conflict, which can mar the country's reputation for peaceful campaigning and a free and fair electoral process. The joint statement says this type of conduct has no place within Jamaican society. The country's top prosecutor is calling for a reassessment of Jamaica's Tier 2 ranking on the U.S. Global Trafficking in Persons report. Director of Public Prosecutions DPP Paula Llewellyn argues that the country is performing on par or even better than some of those in Tier 1. DPP Llewellyn contends that the Tier 2 classification fails to reflect the country's fight in prosecuting and convicting traffickers.
Sometimes I think it's a little disingenuous on the authorities in the states who, notwithstanding the great efforts and the advances that we have made in Jamaica, insist that we remain at Tier 2 when we see other persons being put on Tier 1 who, if you really check it out, they're not there yet, like how we are in Jamaica.
She mentioned Jamaica trying human trafficking cases in judge-only courts as a major accomplishment. According to DPP Llewellyn, the move highlights the progress of Jamaica's legislation in its bid to curb such heinous cases.
We realized that these matters were best left outside of the domain of the jury. Simply because in Jamaica, when it comes to sexual matters, there tends to be an undercurrent of it's just a little sex. After that, I know nothing. But in terms of the judge's treatment of trafficking, it brings out, if I do say so myself, that Jamaica's legislation is a model one. There is no gap.
Paula Llewellyn, Director of Public Prosecutions. A Jamaican man employed as a reserve police officer in the Old Orchard Beach Police Department in Maine was arrested by officers from the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, on Friday. He has been identified as John Luke Evans. According to ICE, Evans, who is in the U.S. illegally, was arrested after he tried to unlawfully purchase a firearm. ICE says Evans entered the U.S. lawfully on September 24, 2023 at the Miami International Airport in Florida. He was due to stay in the country for just about 1 week. He's accused of violating the terms of his lawful admission by overstaying his visa. Acting Field Office Director in ICE's Enforcement and Removal Operations, Patricia Hyde, expressed shock at the fact that Evans was employed by the police department. However, the police chief of the Old Orchard Beach Department, Elise Shard, has clapped back. In a statement on Monday, Shard notes that Evans was hired only after the U.S. Department of Homeland Security informed the department that he was cleared to work. Shard says the department is distressed and deeply concerned about this apparent error on the part of the federal government. Those were the headlines at 6. I'm Mahiri Stewart. Sports is next.
Is your money idling when it could be thriving? With CIBC Caribbean's fixed deposit offering, you can take charge of your cash. With 50,000 Jamaican to start, choose terms from 30 days to 2 years. Lock in your funds and enjoy premium rates guaranteed to grow your wealth. Whether you're eyeing short or long-term gains, our fixed deposit account puts you firmly in control of your money. Now is the time to open a CIBC fixed deposit account and start earning more today. CIBC, ambitions made real.
Looking for great food, good vibes, and family-friendly fun? Visit Timber Lounge, your go-to bar and grill in Portmore. Open daily from 11 a.m., serving mouth-watering dishes like jerk chicken pasta, beef burgers, and our signature barbecue ribs. Enjoy delivery, catering, and live sports in a relaxed setting. Don't miss our 6th anniversary celebration this July. Call 876-668-3252 or email timberloungeportmore@gmail.com. Come have a drink, grab a bite, and enjoy the ambiance.
Truth is, HIV affects everyone. Truth is, avoiding care leads to a weaker immune system. That means you could get really sick. The truth is, the hardest pill to swallow isn't the medication. It's the problems that follow when you don't take them. Let's get through this together. Remain in care. You can live life to the fullest with HIV. And that's the truth. A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to Sports here on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm Wayne Walker. Member of Parliament for East Central St. Catherine, Alando Terrelong, has put forward a position he says represents that of the government that Caymanas Park should not be sold. Terrelong, in whose constituency the park is located, told Nationwide Sports that horse racing is a part of the cultural fibre. Terrelong, who is also State Minister for Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, says he was one of those who fought to keep the facility open during the COVID-19 pandemic.
The horse racing will be in Jamaica forever. You know, one has to understand that horse racing is a part of the cultural fabric of Jamaica. It's a part of the culture and daily lives of the residents of, Gregory Park and Newlands and Waterford and beyond. During COVID, I was there with them to make sure that, horse racing wasn't closed during COVID. And this is one of the points that persons must understand, from Gregory Park to Newlands, Waterford, and all across St. Catherine and Jamaica. During COVID, this government ensured. I spoke to Minister Grains, I spoke to Minister Nigel Clark, and we ensured that Caymanas Track was open.
The 196-acre facility has been at the center of much discussions, with the leaseholder, Supreme Ventures Racing and Entertainment Limited, wanting full ownership in order to do the necessary renovations at the track. In a previous interview with Nationwide Sport, Gary Peart, executive chairman of SVREL, said their only interest in full ownership is to roll out the US $100 million they have to spend on the upgrade.
The position is very simple. The contract we have was to invest $500 million
we have exceeded that figure by at least 6 times. We're spending in excess of $3 billion. What we're saying is that whatever the additional investment that is required, it is difficult for us. Our bankers will not give us financing against a lease. So what we're saying is that we've identified $100 million US worth of funding to accelerate the development of Caymanas, but we need title to the property.
Executive Chairman of Supreme Ventures Racing and Entertainment Limited, Gary Peart. Two-time world champions West Indies will face Pakistan at Central Broad Regional Park Stadium Turf Ground in Lauderhill, Florida, in Game 1 of their 3-match T20 International Series on Thursday, starting at 6 p.m. Jamaica time. The Windies, who are currently 6th in the world T20 rankings, are still smarting from their 5-0 series loss to Australia, which ended this week. Captain Shea Hope admits it's a quick turnaround to be facing another tough opponent, but he says the team is going to be performing better and could even go on to win the series.
We got to put this series behind us, literally a quick turnover, so we got to put our focus into what we're going to do against the Pakistani opposition. We got our plans already. We're going to make sure that we focus in hard on them, and the biggest thing that they keep mentioning is execution. So as long as our execution is 10 times better, I'm sure we're going to win this series.
Hope says despite the defeat to the Aussies, the team is a good one and they'll keep pushing until they get it right.
We go out there trying to fight every single time, regardless of what the result is. We all want to win, probably even more than you guys. So it's just one of those things where we're trying to get the formula right, and then when we hit that success button, we're going to keep pressing it for as long as possible.
West Indies white ball captain Shea Hope. International netball icon and Adelaide Thunderbird star Romelda Aiken-George has called time on her incredible career. After 18 seasons, 245 games and 4 Premier League titles, Aiken-George played her final National League match in the team's home semi-final defeat. One of the most decorated athletes to ever play the game, Aiken-George has built a legacy like no other. The prolific goal shooter burst onto the netball scene when she debuted for Jamaica in the 2005 and put her name up in lights during the 2007 World Netball Championship. She was picked up the following year by the Queensland Firebirds, where she spent the next 14 seasons collecting 3 premierships and 3 league MVPs along the way. Sunshine Girls center Khadijah Williams described her as the Usain Bolt of netball.
Coming into the squad in 2012, I was new to the whole netball fraternity in terms of the senior team, and she had taken me under her wing, and the amount of life lessons I've learned from her is nothing compared to really anything. She's a stalwart and she's very caring. She was my mother before she became Gigi's mother, and I really do appreciate all that she has taught me. It's nothing short of greatness. Romelda is to us what Usain Bolt would be to track and field.
In 2023, she signed with the New South Wales Swifts and played a pivotal role in the side securing their place in the grand final before joining the Thunderbirds for 2024. In round 3 of 2025, she etched her name deeper into netball history, becoming the most capped player across the ANZ Championships and Suncorp Super Netball competition, with 233, surpassing fellow icon Jiva Mentor. 5 rounds later, she became just the second player to reach 9,000 national goals, joining fellow Jamaican Janelle Fowler-Nemhard. Williams says Aiken-George's departure is definitely going to leave a huge void in world netball.
We are going to miss her, and I think it's going to be a huge loss, but what she had provided from before is nothing greater than, I can't even put into words what she has given to me as a player. And I think a lot of persons might say the same. She has made a huge impact on the ladies now playing in Australia because of she. Then there's them. So I think it's going to be a huge hole and a huge gap for somebody else to fill.
That's Khadijah Williams. NFL Hall of Famer Shannon Sharpe has been dismissed by top U.S. sports network ESPN. The 57-year-old Sharpe was fired 2 weeks after he settled the U.S. $50 million lawsuit involving an unnamed OnlyFans model who accused him of rape, sodomy, and domestic violence and intentional infliction of emotional harm in November of 2024 and January of 2025. At first, Sharpe denied that he had assaulted her or had sex with her against her will when the suit was filed back in April of 2025. He also claimed that her civil lawsuit was nothing more than, quote, a shakedown, but executives at ESPN, which is owned by Disney, decided that Sharp's employment at the channel was no longer tenable. Interestingly enough, Sharp was involved in another sexual matter when he claims he accidentally live-streamed himself having sex with an unnamed woman at his home in 2024. It is unclear if the two episodes involved the same woman. Sharp first rose to fame as one of the greatest tight ends in NFL history with the Denver Broncos and won 3 Super Bowls, with the latter happening with the Baltimore Ravens. That's sports.
For all your scales and food processing equipment, call Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited at 876-968-9612-5. The time by Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited is
6:19.
As we enter the peak of hurricane season, don't let downtime disrupt your business. Digicel Business offers secure cloud storage and Jamaica's only Tier 3 certified data center, built to withstand storms and safeguard your data. With 24/7 monitoring, local hosting, and 100% uptime, your operations stay protected no matter the weather. Prepare now, protect what matters. Call Digicel Business Solutions at 876-469-2677 or visit digicelbusiness.com. Digicel Business Solutions. Stay online, stay protected.
Short-sightedness, the inability to see well in the distance, is on the rise and is affecting millions of children worldwide, increasing their risk of serious eye conditions later in life. At IQ Optical, we're proud to lead the fight against short-sightedness with revolutionary Maya Smart therapeutic lenses, specifically designed for young eyes. This month only, your child can receive a free second pair of our revolutionary lenses. Help protect your child's vision today. Visit IQ Optical, where clarity never looked sharper.
Are you ready for something mega? Spend $6,500 or more before GCT, drop your entry in the box, and you could win a 2025 Hyundai Tucson. It's the Mega Wheels Tour promotion, April 5th to September 28th. Second prize, a $50,000 shopping spree every month for a year. Third prize, a $30,000 shopping spree every month for a year. Brought to you by Hyundai, Redstone, Heineken, True Milk, Grace, Walker's Wood, Downing, CPJ Daiquiri, and Carryburst. Choose Concentrate. Only at Megamart. Locations island-wide. Megamart, best value by far. Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act.
Things turns 5. Boy, Things After Dark, the realest, most exciting show on radio, is celebrating 5 years.
Happy birthday, my friend. One more year on them.
And we're going big. We're talking a live outside broadcast and after party, celebrity guests, live performances, giveaways, and more. You understand? It's all going down Wednesday, July 30th from 8 to 11 p.m. at Nationwide 90 FM Courtyard at 6 Bradley Avenue. Things Nation, this is your celebration. This is the link up you don't want to miss. We are Things from Kareem Boya Things for Things Turns 5, Wednesday, July 30th, 8 to 11 p.m. Come out and celebrate with us. You understand?
Things Turns 5 is brought to you by Mark's Superstore, the University of Technology Jamaica, Chicken and Things, Calico Jack, The Bridge Official, Best Way Pharmacy, Stewart's Automotive Group, Speed Ship JA, Sleek Faces, Tastematic Kitchen, Helago Wine and Spirits Limited, Bodyscape Rejuvenation Center, Statement Pieces by Chris, and Pat's Flower Shop.
Join George Davis this Thursday, July 31, live on Nationwide 90 FM from the Montego Bay Convention Center on Cliffviews Online from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. for the Caribbean Investment Forum 2025 under the theme Smart, Green, Connected. CIF 2025 is where innovation meets opportunity, bringing together global investors, visionary entrepreneurs, and regional leaders, shaping a smarter, greener, and more inclusive Caribbean. Expect real-time insights from keynote speakers and panelists on green technology, digital transformation, and economic resilience. So tune in to Nationwide 90 FM Thursday, July 31 from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's the Caribbean Investment Forum 2025 at the Montego Bay Convention Center. Catch the live stream on our YouTube channel at Nationwide 90 FM Live 2. All this and more only on Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. This broadcast is brought to you by the Caribbean Investment Forum, accelerating investment, driving innovation, the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce, JAMPRO, and the Special Economic Zone Authority.
Public Opinion is brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Good evening, and welcome to Public Opinion. I'm Robianne Williams. A special good evening to our friends over on our YouTube platform. Thank you so much for tuning in. We invite you to weigh in live in the comments section on today's Public Opinion. The political campaign trail is heating up. Jamaicans making their regular commute on Wednesday morning were met with an unusual sight. They saw the Prime Minister, cabinet ministers, government MPs, and an army of young people at stoplights and in the middle of busy roadways across the country. The JLP team was hand-delivering a booklet containing 250 achievements they say they have scored during their 9-year stint in office. The booklet was quickly criticized as a public relations stunt intended to mask the hard realities on the ground. But Dr. Tufton says the effort is about reinforcing the government's positive performance.
In communication, we don't take things for granted and we don't assume, particularly in this environment where there's so much noise. The free media space offers, in a democracy where the media is free, but everyone can assume some sort of journalistic privilege through social media in particular, allows for all sorts of information to be put out there. As we did with COVID, where we had to continuously communicate, even though some of the rules were standard protocols. In an election cycle, we have to communicate. And so the achievement document, persons may know of some that have benefited them. They may not know of others that are benefiting others. And when taken together as a compilation, provides a real sense of what the government has been doing.
Dr. Christopher Tufton, he's the chairman of the JLP's campaign committee. So in Public Opinion this evening, we're asking you, what's your reaction to PM Holness handing out booklets about the JLP's achievements in the streets? Let's go. On Facebook, Jermaine Donovan is saying it's empowering to see the Prime Minister and cabinet members engaging with the people in the streets. They are actually revolutionizing the way campaigning is done in Jamaica. They have personalized the campaigning through direct interactions between the people and their public servants. For Claudia Yap, she's saying that the people will appreciate a down-to-earth PM. Giving out a brochure with all their achievements is a double whammy. I know there will be a lot of criticism and negatives, but you have to understand that it is a great marketing tool that will be well received by the decided and undecided. Kevin Miller is saying, very good strategic move. Many people don't keep up to date with all the happenings across the country. Therefore, putting everything in the people's hand is great for their campaign. This empowers the people to be aware of the government's undertakings over their time in office. Maury McCarthy believes it's a great idea. She's saying that it is an innovative way of campaigning and she loves it. Denval Mullings is saying he thinks that it's strategic and well calculated. Many folks who are ignorant to the achievements of this government will now be far more informed, and all this information is at their fingertips in one booklet. Let me see if I can get in a few more. Mari is saying that's marketing. Very good strategy. Mark Ranger says, great. Match what you read with what you see. According to Cheryl Griffiths, we play chess, not Ludi. Yeah? Dama Romes believes that it actually shows humility and willingness not to take anything for granted. It is a master stroke. All right, let me see if I can get in some more on our Facebook platform. Michael Pusey says, intern Jehovah Witness. Royan is saying, excellent. Steady JA believes it was a brilliant idea. Don't come at me if I didn't read the comments. Your comments, there are a lot of comments and I'm trying to get through them one by the other. What's your reaction to PM Holness handing out booklets about the JLP's achievement in the streets? We turn our attention to X. Wilson is saying it is a great look. The PM is humble enough to go out there and seek the people's vote, not empty-handed, but with a record of solid achievement. Dr. Proud Yardman says it's enlightening to see such humility from a prime minister. He definitely doesn't see this role as a downgrade. Sharis Michael believes that it's desperation. The prime minister isn't just about talk. He leads by example. He said, "We are servants of the people." That's according to Shanae. Aquarius is saying it was an excellent move. X beside the beautiful Bell is saying, "I'm happy we have a PM who doesn't see himself as better than the people." Let me see. Taxpayers' money is not supposed to be used for political campaigning. It's wrong, says Grace Davidson. Alonzo Price saying it's game changer. According to Miss Sylvie, if the prosperity is not visible, then in a book we are going to find it. So we start read now. Start read. Monique Orates is saying, who are the under... Oh, that is unrelated to the question we're asking. Truth Matters saying it's a good look. It's like the word of God that commands us to go into the highways and the byways to share the good news. Boss Fever Boss, that's according to Tia Davis. Shanky is saying just a man of the people, not above, but equal. Yeah. Chess, not checkers, according to Brown Shan. Absolute waste of time because those are not achievements. Nonsense was a total waste of prime ministerial time, says do your civic duty. Melt I Pot believes it was desperation. Few weeks to go before the election and you're now handing out booklets of achievements. Government take us for fools. We're not buying this. On Instagram, Tropical Heat is saying, love it. Some people would act like they're too important to stand in the streets and ask for support. Kind Boy Mark is saying it's an awesome move. Many Jamaican don't know the amount of work that this government did. Yeah. According to Annie, I don't see him as prime minister this morning. I saw him as my friend, my brother, my uncle, my cousin. I see him as one of us real down-to-earth Jamaicans. Let's see if I can get in a few more. The Fashion Travel is saying, I 100% appreciate it. It shows us what exactly this administration has achieved in our best interest. Every day I pray any government that needs to push so hard to an election to remind people of its achievements clearly hasn't served its citizens effectively. It's the people of Jamaica, not Jamaica, who should be sharing how your policies have impacted their lives and families. Andrew, a move like his administration is the opposition. Okay, Just Peachy is saying, I love his direct personal approach with the people. According to Kemi Kane, it's one book of nothing. Yeah? Champion Pat is saying his achievements should speak for itself, not him handing out books to me we can't read. Titch Sharon believes it's a great idea. The JLP has to come to the realization that a lot of misinformation and disinformation is around. Dre Views believes that it was a surgical move by Brogard. Father Perry said Dr. Andrew Olness taking way too long to call the election. Jamaicans are impatient people. Too much anxiety for the people. Let me see. Elaine Palmer says, wherever you are in the world, just don't comment. Come out and vote on election day. We need this government to stay. Custis Brown say, you go, Andrew, and the party. Brilliant move. Leave the PNP speechless. Marjorie G saying the opposition doesn't have a good book. Listen to the negative comments. PNP sound alike. Michael Ray saying, only bad mind PNP have problem with the PM sharing the achievements. Abraham Thomas says, bad Ventis. Master of chess move according to Superintendent. M. Jam is saying, it bun them. Denzel is saying, I can't hear the comrade. Okay. A personalized masterclass marketing move to reach out far and wide across the nation. This target not only those that listen, but with digital connections and a hard copy to those without such access, says Tam. Yeah, Becca Grant believes that's a knockout blow to the PNP, another strategic move. Derek Isaacs also saying it's a political masterstroke. Yeah? All right. Let us see. Time will tell if indeed this was a strategic one, as you put it. To you, our listeners, thank you so much for participating in Public Opinion. The Business Report is up next.
Public Opinion was brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Drive the most exciting new vehicles in Jamaica. Schedule your 2024 Ford Ranger pickup or Ford Everest 7-seater SUV test drive now. Call or visit KIG today.
The time by KIG is
6:34.
Visit Marshall's Pharmacy, Greater Portmore for all your prescription needs, gifts, personal care, household and stationery items. The temperature by Marshall's Pharmacy, Greater Portmore is
30 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 29 out west in Montego Bay. Hello, good evening, and welcome to Nationwide's Business Report. I'm Robianne Williams. VM Group has reported a strong financial performance for the year ended December 31, 2024, with operating revenue climbing by $4.26 billion, or 40% to $14.8 billion. Net profit increased by 120% to $823.4 million. These results were presented at the VM Group Annual General Meeting held on July 29 at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel in New Kingston. The U.S. Central Bank has kept interest rates unchanged again, despite pressure from President Donald Trump to lower borrowing costs. The decision, which was widely expected, left the Federal Reserve's key lending rate between 4.25% and 4.5%, where it has stood since December. But in an unusual dissent, 2 members of the board voted against the plan, saying they preferred to cut, which is a sign that support for lower rates may be broadening. The vote came as new economic data continued to fuel debate over what effects Trump's tariffs will have on the world's largest economy. And finally, in the currency markets, at the close of trading today, it cost 161 Jamaican dollars and 25 cents to buy $1 US, 217 Jamaican dollars and 87 cents to buy 1 British pound, and 116 Jamaican dollars and 39 cents to buy the Canadian dollar. That's the Business Report. I'm Robianne Williams. Good evening.
As we enter the peak of hurricane season, don't let downtime disrupt your business. Digicel Business offers secure cloud storage and Jamaica's only Tier 3 certified data center, built to withstand storms and safeguard your data. With 24/7 monitoring, local hosting, and 100% uptime, your operations stay protected no matter the weather. Prepare now, protect what matters. Call Digicel Business Solutions at 876-469-2677 or visit digicelbusiness.com. Digicel Business Solutions. Stay online, stay protected.
Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, is a financial reporting firm that delivers accounting and compliance services on time. Call us today at 876-908-0486-7. Email us at clientservices@cocnjamaica.com or visit our website at www.cocnjamaica.com. COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology, and integrity.
The general rate of price increases in Jamaica has slowed significantly, barring any new economic shocks such as large global price increases or bad weather. Inflation is expected to generally remain within Bank of Jamaica's target range of 4 to 6% for the next 2 years. Low stable price movement is good for all Jamaicans. A message from Bank of Jamaica.
Ready for a refresh? The hottest sale of the summer is now on at Active Home Center. From now until Saturday, August 2nd, get up to 30% off selected living, dining, and bedroom furniture, plus enjoy up to 10% off lighting and fans to keep your home cool and bright. It's the summer to save big and upgrade every room. But hurry, these deals won't last. Active Home Center, more savings, more choices. Conditions apply.
Things turns 5. Boy Things After Dark, the realest, most exciting show on radio, is celebrating 5 years.
Happy birthday, yeah, my friend. One more year on them.
And we're going big. We're talking a live outside broadcast and after party, celebrity guests, live performances, giveaways, and more. You understand? It's all going down Wednesday, July 30th from 8 to 11 p.m. at Nationwide 90 FM Courtyard at 6 Bradley Avenue. Things Nation, this is your celebration. This is the link up you don't want to miss. We are Things from Kareem Boya Things for Things Turns 5, Wednesday, July 30th, 8 to 11 p.m. Come out and celebrate with us. You understand?
Things Turns 5 is brought to you by Mark's Superstore, the University of Technology Jamaica, Chicken and Things, Calico Jack, The Bridge Official, Best Way Pharmacy, Stewart's Automotive Group, Speed Ship JA, Sleek Faces, Tastematic Kitchen, Helago Wine and Spirits Limited, Bodyscape Rejuvenation Center, Statement Pieces by Chris, and Pat's Flower Shop.
Join George Davis this Thursday, July 31, live on Nationwide 90 FM from the Montego Bay Convention Center on Cliffviews Online from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. for the Caribbean Investment Forum 2025 under the theme Smart, Green, Connected. CIF 2025 is where innovation meets opportunity, bringing together global investors, visionary entrepreneurs, and regional leaders, shaping a smarter, greener, and more inclusive Caribbean. Expect real-time insights from keynote speakers.
Good evening, listeners and viewers. Welcome to Tourism. The introduction says this booklet is not about what we hope to do. It highlights some of the projects we have already delivered. These are not promises, they are not plans, they are real results. And the party says the government has done more than enough to campaign on its record over the last 9 years in charge of the country's affairs.
And the booklet was quickly criticized as a public stunt intended to mask the hard realities on the ground. But chairman of the party's campaign committee, Dr. Christopher Tufton, says the effort is about reinforcing the government's positive performance. Dr. Tufton joins us now. Good evening, Dr. Tufton.
Hi, good evening.
And thank you for joining us. Dr. Tufton, what was the approach, or why the approach taken this morning where we saw the Prime Minister, cabinet members on the road hand-delivering that booklet, which you call your achievements over the past 9 years? Why did you take that approach?
Well, this is a direct sell. This is a direct communication, direct contact with people, shaking hands, explaining, clarifying, trying to get Jamaicans to appreciate in its fullest what we have done. Now, many are already convinced, but we believe that we must not take any chances. We must make that extra effort, satisfy any concerns that are there. And so the approach was determined based on that. The truth is that the party has, and the government has done a lot to deserve the continued support of the Jamaican people. It's not about hype, it's about explaining, clarifying, and listing the critical achievements. And that's what we set out to do, and I think we did it with some high levels of success.
So, Dr. Tufton, clearly a lot of Jamaicans are going to ask, well, we know what you've achieved, but the question still remains, what can we expect? So this is obviously not the party's manifesto. So do we expect to see that rolled out in due course?
Absolutely. The achievement document is a very different document from the manifesto. The manifesto is aspirational. It's what we plan to do in the next term. But I think as a government in office for the last 9+ years, we do have a responsibility to report back to the country on our stewardship. Unlike those who are trying to get there, we can say this is our track record. We can compare our track record with their track record. As I said today at the press brief, in 2015, it was a bad year for many Jamaicans, most Jamaicans. In 2025, I believe that most Jamaicans could and can identify with the benefit that this government has brought to them through policies and programs. And, it is the season to compare and contrast. It's part of our democracy. And what we did was to make our case. And we're going to very confidently and with a lot of conviction continue to make that case until that particular day when the Jamaican people will have an opportunity to make a choice.
Mm-hmm. And you mentioned today at the press conference the challenge of misinformation. And we understand that with social media, as indicated, everyone can be their own journalist. How do you plan to tackle that approach where you're correcting individuals on some of the misinformation that others may utilize social media to spread?
Well, the other people, the Orange Army, have really set out as part of their strategy because they can do no better to misinform, to propagandize, to create an impression that somehow the country is in a crisis. The country was in a crisis in 2015, and we need to remind Jamaicans of that. Crime and the fear of crime was at an all-time high. Persons were not getting sufficient medication. Unemployment was 13-14%. It's now 3.8%. And taxes, of course, continued to be a burden. Every year, persons had to expect more taxes. What we have to demonstrate, and we have to remind Jamaicans of, is that there have been no new taxes over the last 8+ years. That crime is, in 1 year, has dropped, certainly murders, by over 40%. Hasn't happened in recent memory. So Jamaicans, for the most part, are better off. Now, it's still a work in progress, and we don't claim perfection. But where you have a choice, the issue is, what is the best option of the choices? And we intend to make the case that we are the best option, and by extension, therefore, ask humbly for the people to support us to go into the next 5 years.
And clearly, this is just the start. You rolled out your election campaign, so to speak, this afternoon. What is next in terms of bringing that message now to the people of Jamaica outside of the booklet, in terms of pointing these achievements out? A lot have been said that the JLP has not done as much in terms of mass meetings and conferences to rally that support as the People's National Party has done over the last few months. Is that now what we're doing? Is that what you're going to be doing, going into high gear?
Let me just say, the JLP has no intention to pursue the People's National Party strategy. That's their strategy, and they can go out there and do all the jump up and down as they want. Mass meetings have a place, but that's not necessarily the priority place. And so we will determine our own strategy. We will determine what is in our best interests and what's in the country's best interest. For the first time, I think a government can, in fact, campaign on its performance and its achievements, and that certainly will form part of our overall strategy. The rest of it, we will continue to surprise, because we don't think it is in our best interest to telecast what we plan to do. But there's a lot in store, and it will be very interesting, and we believe the Jamaican people will be better off for what we will do in the coming weeks.
And in terms of the party's readiness to get off the ground now and essentially fly with it towards that general election date, how are things looking?
Well, obviously, I'll reserve that for the party leader, and he will do so in his own time. But, the timelines around this political cycle will not necessarily make it a surprise or too much of a surprise. The issue of how we tactically determine what lies within those timelines is really our determination, and we have a plan. Ultimately, it really is about the confidence that the people of Jamaica have in us. As I said today in the press brief, Jamaicans have three choices. They can stay away, which we are saying is not the best option because you allow other persons to determine what's in your best interest. They can go with those who had us in despair up to 2015, 2016, or they can go with a track record of performance, which we have clearly demonstrated today. And we're going to make that case. It is time now to make that case, and we are very confident that we will make it convincingly. We have candidates in the field who have been working. We are very confident in our candidates. They have been working hard, and they say all politics is local, and therefore the highlighting of that will be important. But there's a lot more to come, put it that way.
Understood. That's Dr. Christopher Tufton. He's the chairman of the JLP's campaign committee. All the best, Dr. Tufton, and good luck.
All the best.
Well, listeners, we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we have with us Emmy Award-winning journalist Cliff Hughes, as well as founder of Rebel Radio and Desmond Richards, to dissect what took place today.
Get ready for Nationwide 90 FM at Denby. Follow Nationwide 90 FM to the Denby Agricultural Industrial Food Show on August 1 from 1 to 5 p.m. We're bringing you the vibes, the voices, and the vibrant culture from Jamaica's biggest agri-celebration. Then, follow back away again to Denby on August 2 from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. From farm to fork, youth in agriculture, and the best local produce, you'll hear it all. Keep your station locked to Nationwide 90 FM. We're bringing the Denby Agricultural Industrial Food Show to your airwaves on August 1 from 1 to 5 p.m. Then on August 2 from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m.
This broadcast is brought to you by the National Land Agency, the Jamaica Urban Transit Company, the Jamaica Bauxite Mining Limited, the Jamaica 4-H Club, the Jamaica Customs Agency, the Banana Board, and the Bureau of Standards.
Welcome back, listeners and viewers, to The Nation's Business. As I said, we're now going to dissect that media blitz put on by the Jamaica Labour Party this morning into the afternoon. We have with us veteran journalist, Emmy Award-winning journalist Cliff Hughes, as well as fellow journalist and founder of Rebel Radio, Desmond Richards. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening to you
Siobhan.
both.
Good evening, Sanjay. Good evening, listeners. Good evening, Desmond Richards. How are you?
Good evening, Cliff. I am supposed to be okay.
Supposed to be okay. You're fine, man.
Well, let's crack on, gentlemen. Let's start with you, Cliff Hughes. You're the boss, so to speak. What have you made of today's events? You have seen it all. You've been around the block. What have you made to this very different approach taken by the Jamaica Labour Party today?
I've been thinking about it since you all asked me to be on. And one phrase keeps coming back at me. It was a move outside of the box. We did not expect this. Yeah? For a governing party, yes, this close to the elections, to have the leader of the party, the deputy leaders and bigwigs of the party out on the streets of the corporate area this morning and across the country, I think is a move that is simply outside the box. It was a surprise. It looked good. The enduring images I saw, I'm in Montego Bay, and I had to be depending on you guys to show me the images. That image of the Prime Minister of Jamaica running down Halfway Tree Road, yes, crisscrossing through the traffic, yeah, handing out the booklets to motorists, yeah, moving in between the traffic. That is unprecedented. I can't seem to recall any political leader, previous political leader, dead and gone, to be so engaged at the start of his campaign. because what it demonstrates is the relatability of Andrew Holness. Yes, he's one of us. Yeah, he has this ability to connect that I'm afraid his opponent doesn't have. Can you see Mark Golding running between the traffic in the sun this morning?
Why?
Well, I can't see it.
Well, Desmond Richards, you have your say now. What do you say? I mean, some people are calling it a master stroke, where they say the JLP is playing chess while other people are playing checkers. What say you?
Like you, I have been around. I have been watching election campaigns, observing them close since 1972 as a teenager in deep rural St. and Muros. Now, first of all, I am not surprised. I am not surprised at what political leaders do in Jamaica to retain our access power. I'm not surprised at all. Nothing that they do, I'm surprised about. And when it comes on to election campaigns, I am again not surprised by what they say and what they do. Now, listen, this and Nationwide and Cliff have been running around with this. That this is the first government that can campaign on achievements. That's not true. All the governments of the past, they have campaigned on their achievements. They have campaigned on their achievements. And I can recall two things. The 1976 election and the 1980 election. In 1976 was a very competitive election. But at that time, the late Michael Manley was in his zenith. And Siaga was also way up there. But the PNP came to the country with their achievements. There were achievements because remember that Jamaica was, coming out of the colonial era. And that government, 72 to 76, what they did was to put in a lot of social programs, and they loosed up the people. And that helped the people to stay with Michael Manley. In 1980, I can remember the PNP went out on a massive campaign. But what I observed, that the people were not digesting the campaign. No. The people had made up their mind that we are going to vote you out of power. Now, the achievements that are in this booklet that you are saying that the Prime Minister is running around giving out. Remember, these achievements are something that are measurable. So the question we must ask ourselves, and that will be proven on election day, these achievements, have they filtered down into the lives of the people? That is it. Can the people get medical treatment? The people get water? Can people stop moving as far as 30 miles to go to an hospital? What about, do you know that since 1944, the people in rural Jamaica have been suffering? Do you know that these...
Well, Desmond, you have said a lot. You have said a lot. And let me just go back a little, and deal with them. What we're talking about this morning, and I think the question posed to me, is about the political tactic, the methodology that was used. That is certainly without precedent. That's unprecedented. Yeah? It is not about what the Prime Minister said, because you're correct. Politicians will say what they think is popular in the moment. The issue this evening, when was it that we had a Prime Minister, a political leader, in rush hour traffic in the capital of St. Andrew, weaving in between moving motor cars, handing out a booklet? Yeah, that is what is extraordinary politically. Secondly, you said that what Nationwide and Cliff have been saying about running on record is not true. No, you mischaracterize what I've said. What I've said, and I'm prepared to say it again, this government, between 2016 and now, has chalked up an array of achievements that I posit outbid all previous administration in terms of the range and complexity and the challenges. A pandemic, once in a generation, COVID, and I say this government did
hold on,
well.
just allow Cliff to finish the point.
Did well. Which other government could have come through the way Jamaica came through, having experienced a pandemic which gutted the Jamaican economy? We were able to come through it without collapsing. Certainly, the Michael Manley government of 72 to 76 could not have survived that. But you're correct. Michael Manley and the PNP ran on a ticket in December 1976 based on its impressive social legislation, maternity leave, equal pay for women, no bastard, no day again, land lease. That was the record Michael Mann and the PNP ran on and defeated Siaga handily. But this record we're talking about is not only about social issues. The most intractable problem of the Jamaican society since 1962 has been crime, rampant murders. No other government, none other, without hesitation, can claim the record of reducing crime that Holness has done. But the economy, record low unemployment. The only other time unemployment was this low in Jamaica, Desmond listeners, was in 1834, 1838, when slavery ended.
Let me ask.
Desmond, please hold there, Desmond. We're going to take a quick break.
Just let me finish.
Go ahead.
When we had full employment, yes? We're not talking about the dollar run and a dollar wine anymore. You young people wouldn't know. There was a time when elections are happening, the opposition could beat the government with crime, unemployment, the dollar running. You remember Audley Shaw and the famous, we're having a dollar wine?
And a dollar, yes.
The dollar just a buesa. We don't have those discussions anymore. Do we?
Desmond, hold on. We're going to take a quick break and then we'll allow you to say your piece on the return.
Truth is, you can live life to the fullest with HIV. This time signal is brought to you by the Ministry of Health and Wellness. The time is...
It's 7:03. Welcome back, listeners and viewers. We're looking, or dissecting rather, the JLP's Media Blitz this afternoon. We have with us veteran journalists Cliff Hughes, as well as founder of Rebel Radio, Desmond Richards. So, Desmond Richards, Cliff raises a very good point. Which election campaign... Yes, sir.
Desmond is also a veteran.
Well, I said veteran journalists. I said veteran journalists.
Okay.
But back to my point.
It's okay, man. You guys are, juveniles in the profession.
I don't know that. Not compared to you legends. But back to the point, Desmond Richards. Cliff has raised a point regarding what the JLP has accomplished, what it is able to put to the people in terms of those accomplishments, and the inability so far of the People's National Party to essentially put a message challenging those accomplishments. What say you?
No, let me answer those, mister. Now, first of all, as it relates to the crime, yes, this is the first time in 25 years that murders are likely to end up in Watausa. First time. But let me say something.
And that's an amazing achievement, Desmond.
Hold on a second. I am saying that is the first time in 25 years. No, but one of the things that has not filtered down yet, the fear of crime. In other words, the reduction in the homicide rate has not filtered down in safety in Jamaica yet. The people of Jamaica are not yet feeling that.
But I have to challenge you on that, Desmond, because Dr. Horace Chang came up and he quoted the statistics suggesting the perception of crime, not just the actual matter of crime itself, has fallen in Jamaica.
I am not quoting Dr. Chang, man.
No, but I'm saying he provided the statistic, Desmond Richards. Are you suggesting the statistics are incorrect?
I am talking about people are still being killed, you know. When politicians start, one of the things must do is take it down to the people and get the feeling from the people, you know, what the people feel about it, you know.
But that's the point that Siobhan raised earlier. That the National Security Minister, he came forward with the stats to say that the perception on the ground has changed now that we have seen that crime has been lowered.
I don't know about those statistics. This is election time in Jamaica. The other thing is that the achievements. Remember now, these achievements, they are something that is measurable. So one of the things that we will find out is what impact these achievements have on the lives of the Jamaican people. Because one of the things, hold on, this country has seen economic growth before, you know. Economic growth is not something that Jamaica has never achieved, you know. Jamaica has achieved economic growth. But the vast majority of black people in Jamaica have not experienced any economic growth since 1944.
And Desmond, that is an argument, yes, that is as old as 50, 60 years because of the structural challenges of the Jamaican political economy. But there's no doubt about that. And those structural obstacles to equality in terms of the benefits that people enjoy are going to be with us for some time to come. Yeah? Notwithstanding that, Desmond, it is not a cop-out to say, pound for pound, achievement for achievement, this government between 2016 and 2025, the history will record that on the big issues that we used to judge all previous governments, they are ahead.
Yes,
they are ahead. Whether it has percolated to the level of the individual pocketbooks, purses, wallets, in 4 weeks we will get an answer.
That's what
I am saying.
I'm saying the people will answer and give us some measurement as to whether or not these figures and achievements have filtered down into their lives.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm saying.
I have a follow-up for you on that one, Cliff, because we live in a time where there's misinformation, there's skepticism. How do you see the government now effectively selling its campaign strategy? Yeah, this achievement booklet that they've put together to those in the community in a way that they feel it to be authentic and believable?
First of all, Sanjay, it's not going to come down to a booklet. Mm-hmm. Don't confuse what happened this morning as a political tactic method, with getting through to the average voter in the country that this government has performed. That message is getting through. We see it in our polling data. When Blue Dot asked, Jamaican voters recently, 10 issues. I don't have it in front of me, but I remember them clearly because that stuck with me. Education, housing, public health, water, roads, and it was all in all 10. Which of the two major political parties do you have more confidence in dealing with those 10 issues? The GLP came out ahead of the PNP on 9 of the 10. The PNP came out ahead of the GLP on 1 I think it was housing. And the margin that separated the PNP from the JLP was like within the margin of error. That tells me that the message is getting through, that the people are understanding, and, the PNP has nobody to blame but itself, because the PNP has been damn lazy in sitting down in opposition and articulating, researching, and come up with a policy alternative that could inspire confidence in the Jamaican people. If they had done that, this election wouldn't have the JLP in a competitive position today. The PNP should be way ahead. Desmond can tell you, when was the last time an incumbent government, 10 years in office, 10 years in office, and the opposition is not miles ahead? When was the last time, Desmond?
I can't recall.
Precisely.
So
there's none.
So let me put it to you, Desmond Richards. What as the People's National Party now, what do they do to counter the messaging coming from the Jamaica Labour Party?
I am not an advisor for the PNP. I can't tell you what they are going to do.
No, I'm asking, what do you, as where you sit, what would you suggest they do?
Well, let me tell you something. We are today the 30th of July. So based on what we know, elections are due within weeks, right? Now, it is what you have not done, a political party seeking power. What you have not done to convince the voters, it is going to be very difficult for you to come up with any strategy now that is going to turn around the thinking of the people. So, if as you feel, you and your team feel, and based on what, in other words, you are convinced that the JLP has put forward a convincing program that will convince the voters on election day, that is your take. My take is that I don't think that the programs, the plans and the programs have impacted the lives of the ordinary Jamaicans to the point where they are going to be convinced.
But what about the statistics that Cliff just made mention of? Blue Dot did the survey within the communities. The stats are there. Are you discrediting what was put forward?
I listened to all the statistics. I said, let me repeat what I said. I am watching what will happen on election day. Election day is when I will tell you about statistics.
And I will say to that, Desmond, gentlemen, that the Labour Party would be stupid to believe that they have won this election. This election has not been won. Yeah? It is going to come down to one, which of the two political parties are better organized on election day to get out their voters? 2, which of the two political parties is better financed, especially in certain voting blocks, to fuel those who are into transactional politics to go out and vote? 3, it will come down to...
You mean buying and selling votes?
Exactly. Buying votes, yes. Okay. It is going to or bribing the voter. 3, it is going to come down to the extent to which the uncommitted stroke issue voters, the undecided, come out and vote. If they stay at home, the PNP has a damn good chance of winning the elections. If the undecided, uncommitted issue voters, I call them the sensible middle voter, who understands and recognizes what is really happening, in terms of performance, They are not aligned to any orange or green color. Yeah, them just sittings for what they are. If those people decide that they are not going to come out and vote, yeah, don't be surprised. The TNP could win because the TNP base is very energized.
Yes.
They need no motivation to come out and vote. In fact, if there's one thing that Dayton Campbell has done successfully as General Secretary, is to mobilize and energize that TNP base. Yeah. The difficulty they face has the country's politics. Hold on, let me finish. Has the country's politics moved beyond the rare, the lying, the misleading information, and it is all about the base.
Yeah, I have a follow-up for Cliff before Desmond comes in, because that's a point that I've been making for a very long time. And now looking on, do you think the undecided voters, those who they feel disconnected from both political parties, based on what is happening now, do you feel, based on the pulse that you're feeling on the ground, are they motivated enough to come out and vote when the election is called?
I don't know the answer to that. I pick up, I surmise, yes, that they are beginning to take an interest. But will they actually come out on the day? I don't know, Sanjay. I don't know. It's a big unknown.
Let me give you an answer for that. One of the things there are two things that we are not paying attention to, If you observe the decline in voter participation.
Yes.
Now,
yes.
This is a protest, It's a protest by Jamaicans who the political system have failed them, That is how they are protesting, And the second issue that we need to look at, members of parliament, PNP and JLP members of parliament, they are not serving the people, They are serving their parties. So, for example, they are all over now, in your kitchens, in your bathroom, everywhere. If you're on that street, they are there. And you don't see them, the voters, you don't see them until election time again, because they are not representing the interests of the people. And these are things that we need to look at and find out how we can change them if we expect bigger voter turnout.
In fact, Desmond, I'll say this to you on that. Watch for the backlash against incumbents, non-performing incumbent MPs. It's one of the things I believe we need to watch on election night. A lot of incumbent MPs who have not been very good MPs, they have not been responsive to their constituency needs. Some of them are going to be in trouble on election night. And this cuts across both political parties.
And I think
because people, there's something else that is allied to this that is developing in the politics. There's a greater appreciation of the need for you to perform as a member of parliament. Stop taking people for granted. And that is going to be a legacy of Andrew Holness, win, lose, or draw in 4 or 5 weeks. He has infused into the politics the need to perform, whether at the national level or the constituency level. And some of the
undercount, and the Prime Minister is out on left field in accountability.
What do you mean by that?
He has not accounted. You don't know that.
He has not accounted. I didn't hear that, Desmond.
Right. I want to ask on the point.
The Prime Minister has not accounted. That is why he's in trouble with the Integrity Commission. Don't all of us know that?
Oh, come on, Desmond.
Come on, Desmond. And I would like to put it to you, Cliff. Is that matter? I noticed that has become absent on the PNP's campaign hostings. This matter of the Prime Minister's Integrity Commission filings. It no longer seems to
become absent, Siobhan. I think they're no longer consistently hammering him over with it.
Precisely.
because it has fizzled. It has fizzled. We're having employed millions of dollars, find an international forensic accountant, they couldn't convict him. Come on.
Has he accounted to the Integrity Commission?
He has submitted his declarations. Is it for the commission to say yea or nay?
Why the Integrity Commission has not given a report as it ought to do to say yes, we have the Prime Minister? Why you do that?
Because according to the commission, it has done its work. It has employed a forensic examiner to examine those accounts, and they can't come to a conclusion one way or the other. And they refuse to tell you, Desmond, they refuse to tell me, as a citizen of Jamaica, what did they find? What did the forensic auditor find? Why haven't we been told?
But gentlemen, I don't want to get off track. This is about the campaigns of the two political parties, and I think both of you have hit a nail on the head, this matter of voter apathy and how it will play come election day. And as you said, Cliff, it might favor the People's National Party if that apathy sticks. So as the Jamaica Labour Party heading into the final weeks of their campaigning, heading into a general election, is that matter of voter apathy surmountable, and how do you surmount it?
I don't know if it is surmountable, Siobhan. I think it's going to come down to which of the two parties run the better campaign, which of the two political parties is more effective at reaching those undecided, uncommitted, issue-oriented voters. Yes? And certainly up to this point, I think the JLP has been a better campaigner on that particular issue. For example, listen to the Prime Minister's tone and messaging. He is not speaking like a tribalist. You compare him to Mark Golding and Dayton Campbell, how they are sounding. Yeah? Dayton Campbell and Mark Golding are shouting at us like two angry men. They need to stop it. They're not appealing to that slice of the electorate, which is driven, oriented, issue voters, undecided people who genuinely feel like, listen, this is not much of a choice, but I have to vote for the left.
One of the things you must remember about these undecided voters, At one time, some of them were JLP and PNP voted for JLP and PNP, Remember
exactly.
that?
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
So whichever of the two parties is more effective at reaching them will win. We'll win. We'll get them to the polls. Yeah.
Well, when the election starts, we'll know.
We will know when it's called or when the voting done at 5 o'clock.
Precisely. That is the ultimate test. But final words to you, Desmond Richards and Cliff Hughes?
I'm looking forward to the campaign based on who does the better job, who is less prone to making mistakes. Yeah? Because this election, it can be close. It could be close. At the same time, it could be a landslide. Why do I say that? Look at the outcome of the 2020 elections, where it was about, the last time I checked, it was about 14, 15 seats that were won by less than 1,000 votes. It doesn't take a lot of votes in several constituencies to flip. So it could be a landslide depending on how the undecideds break. Do they break for Labour or do they break for the PNP?
Desmond Richards?
Yes, man.
What I am listening for, which of the two parties are advocating policies that is going to impact the lives of the majority of black people in Jamaica. For example, our people work 500 years in this country for nothing. What about a policy that is going to make land available to black people? I want to hear the PNP and the JLP and that.
Understood. That's Desmond Richards. He's a journalist and founder of Rebel Radio. We also had with us Emmy Award-winning journalist and CEO of Nationwide News, Cliff Hughes. Thank you both for joining us, gentlemen. As you both said, time will tell. Only in a few short weeks, we will have the answer to those questions, I'm sure.
Okay. Have a good night.
Have a good evening. We take a quick break, and I believe we have the Watchman after this, listeners, and then your calls. The numbers are 630-937-124 and 618-8255.
As of June 1, Jamaica's minimum wage is now $16,000 per 40-hour workweek, up 158% from 2016, marking the highest minimum wage in the nation's history. We are building Jamaica.
The time by the office of the Prime Minister is...
It's 7:26.
The Watchman, exploring issues shaping...
Good evening. Rural School